All right, everyone. Well, welcome back. And we are very luckily joined this week by Chris Curtis, who will be fighting on next week's card. So, look, Chris, thank you very much for joining us. Getting straight into it, your first 3 fights in the UFC have been against some truly tough opposition, with a prospect in Phil Hawes and a jiu-jitsu phenom in Rodolfo Vieira. Was fighting such tough opposition early on in your UFC career exactly what you wanted, by kind of throwing yourself in the deep end, as it were, rather than maybe being fed favorable matchups?
I mean, to be honest, everybody wants favorable matchups because you just want to burn through checks. But I've been fighting for a long time, man. Like, I didn't really feel, I was going to be a guy who got favorable matchups anyway. And I've been fighting I got 40 fights almost. Like, I don't think I need to have great matchups. I think I'm at a point in my career to where I feel like, I'm one of the best guys in the world. And I just want to be able to prove that.
Chris, something I want to ask you is throughout your career, have you ever had moments of sort of self-doubt or that feeling of wanting to give up? Because I know, you originally didn't get a contract on the Dana White Contender Series, even after getting a finish, in your fight. So, for anyone listening, want to try and help them out. If there ever has been those moments throughout your career, how have you dealt with them and sort of moved on? Because you were comeback fighter of the year last year by MMA Junkie. So, there's got to be a level of resilience there that you show. So how did you sort of learn from that?
There's lots of moments of self-doubt and doubt, and just times when you give up. And there's times I told myself I give up. I was sure I give up, but when it's all said and done, saying you're going to give up is one thing. Giving up is something completely different. So everybody gets frustrated. Everybody gets down. There are times where I get up, and then the next day I'm like, okay, you got it off your chest. You kind of decompress a little bit, and just keep going. I can't allow myself to not keep going. Like, my biggest fear is being 60 years old, having quit something or having never given myself fully to it, and wondering like if I could have done it. And I think I would rather try and fail than give up and never know.
Yeah, for sure. So, Chris, something we wanted to ask you is that obviously a game like mixed martial arts, it's very encompassing. It takes over a lot of your life. But what interests and hobbies do you have outside of training and outside of competing? Are there any sort of hobbies that you're really passionately into when you're not training or preparing for a fight?
I mean, it's when I do have free time. I'm a huge gamer. I'm a movie guy. I love good movies. I'm a connoisseur of bad movies. I absolutely love bad movies.
What's your favorite bad movie then?
So we have, I know the worst bad movie is my favorite. We have like bad movies. There's one called Vampire Assassin, which is one of the worst things I've ever seen in the film. If you have like the capacity for it, go find this movie. And it's like, we found it like 15 years ago, and it's just the worst thing I've ever seen still.
Hey man, I like Sharknado, so.
Oh yeah, it's bad. So there's that. Games, movies. I like to write. I love to write. But outside of that, man, most of my attention, 99% of my attention is spent on fighting.
Of course.
Chris, obviously, we know you train out of the great gym in Vegas, Extreme Couture, a notorious gym, with a well-rounded stable of elite coaches like Eric and Dennis and Eddie, all that. What do you think makes Extreme Couture the perfect home for you as a mixed martial artist?
It's funny, man, because when I came to Vegas, I was initially at a different gym, and then I was kind of going back and forth between 2 different gyms, and I ended up staying with Extreme just because, for me, I'm somebody who came from a background in fighting, to where I wasn't part of the work smarter, not harder generation. Like, I was from Ohio, man, in the middle of nowhere. We didn't have all the great coaches or gyms, so we just fought each other every single day. And while that may be bad, it makes you tough, and it gives you a certain like mindset for fighting. So for me, I always wanted to be pushed. And at Extreme, you've got such a great stable of guys. You've got some of the best guys in Vegas under one roof, especially at my weight class. It's insane. But even more so than that, man, Extreme has a lot of coaches. There's Eric, there's Nate, there's Dennis, there's Eddie. Then you have a coach outside of that, and like Jake Shields, and they work together. And like you see a lot of gyms where one guy wants to do it all, and it's egos. Like, no, extreme like me, I have like 5 coaches, and they're working together to make me the best product that I can be. And I think that's very rare. Usually have the gyms where people are fighting amongst themselves over whose fighter is whose, or a gym where one guy wants to run everything because he's named on the building and he wants the recognition. But Extreme's very much so different, man. You've got a lot of good talent in there, and just some of the best coaches in the world all working together and no egos aside, trying to make you the best fighter instead of trying to put their name on the door.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, Chris, something about your career is that you have actually had some boxing experience. I was curious, were there any transferable skills from that experience, whether that's a particular training method or how you throw your jab, that you were able to bring into your MMA training?
Sorry, somebody called me. You muted out. I think I know what you're saying. I think there's a lot of carryover, man. Like for boxing, the intensity in boxing is a lot different than people get mixed martial arts. Like you go spar in a boxing gym versus the MMA gym. There's a difference of like intensity to where people in boxing gyms are actually trying to kill you. So being around that has been really helpful. And it's just for me, especially like MMA, you don't see a lot of people staying behind their jab. You don't see a lot of people doing body work the way that it's pretty normal for boxing. And for me, body work's a big part of my style just because, especially 85, I'm a much shorter guy. So being able to fight inside, you're not always going to be able to hit the head. And you're fighting taller guys. Way to bring them to you is to break the body down. So there's definitely a lot of carryover just in like how you do things, as well as just the way, the certain punches you throw, certain combinations you throw. So, you can't take everything from boxing into MMA, but there's a lot that carries over that I think a lot of fighters are missing out on.
Chris, obviously we know Darren Till is going to be cornering you next weekend in London, which is a great one. What kind of value do you see Darren being able to add to your corner? Because I know it's Eric and Brendan Lockney and Eric. So what kind of value do you see Darren adding to that?
I mean, he's spent the last how many months training for guys. So I'm training about 2 weeks to prepare.
Yep.
He's had the last 3-4 months to get ready and see things. So that'll be helpful just because there's going to be things that we're not going to be able to see. We haven't had the time to like spend on him. On top of, I like Darren, man. He's out in Vegas. He's a fun guy. We get along great. I think more so the energy, man. Like more so than anything, his energy is going to be important because like Darren's a really pseudo-psychotic, intense guy. So I need that in my corner. Usually it's Sean Strickland, but he won't be there. So Darren gets to be Sean for this one.
Yeah, for sure. So, Chris, what is the feeling like knowing that if you can win this fight, like you said with Ariel on Monday, you could only be 1 or 2 wins away from a title shot? Because I'm sure there might be some other mixed martial artists listening to this who are in the same position that you were last year, not in the UFC yet, maybe fighting for another organization like XMMA, to potentially now just being a couple of wins away from a title shot so early on in your UFC career.
It's weird, man. It's not the answer you guys want, but I promise I haven't even thought about it. I don't allow myself to think about it. It's an interesting thing. I hadn't even thought about it until someone brought it up. I think Ariel brought it up. I was like, oh shit, I probably am like 1 or 2 away at that point. But I don't allow myself to think about it. That's a problem for future Chris. And for right now, I'll worry about Jack. I was not a guy who started fighting saying, I'm going to be the world champion. I'm going to do this. Like that wasn't my goal for getting the UFC. My goal has always been just to get as far as I possibly can. I want to go as far as I can go. Like, I don't know where that is. If it ends with me being a world champion, cool. If it ends with me being the number 2 guy in the world, cool. If it ends with me being the number 8 guy in the world, that's fine. I just need to know how far I can go. That's always been my goal, is to just go and see how far I can go, and I'll be happy with that. So they're like, oh, you could be up there with a title shot. I'm like, okay, cool. If I get it, cool. If not, it's cool. My only real goal has been to just see how far I can go. That's it.
Yeah.
Chris, last one from us, man. We don't want to keep you too long because I know you got dinner. So last one from us. But
I got birthday dinner,
yeah, that's all right, man. Last one from us. We know you just talked about bit about future Chris. And the last question I want to ask you is, July 30th, 2021, you fought Kenny Robinson for XMMA in Greenville, South Carolina, almost to the day. July 23rd, 2022, you fight number 8 ranked UFC middleweight Jack Hermansson at the O2 in England. You've achieved a hell of a lot in between that time. So give us a hypothetical. You fought 3 times with 4 coming up. Where is Chris Curtis July of 2023, inside and outside the fight?
Hopefully I'm still in the top 10 come 2023. I don't know where I am in there, but maybe the top 10 somewhere. Things have gone horribly wrong really fast. So inside the ring, man, hopefully I'm in the top 10 still. We've made mistakes. Outside, I don't know, man. I'm kind of in a good place. I like to spend some more time with my family and my son back home. But outside of the ring, I don't know, man. I pretty much exist mostly in the ring at this point.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That's kind of the sacrifice of having to get to this point now. It's most of my life is there. But I don't know, man. Maybe I'll buy a house finally. I was looking at one last year, but the market in Vegas is terrible.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll be buying my first home this time next year. We'll see.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, look, Chris, really appreciate your time, man. I know you've been fucking bombarded with interviews all week, so to give us...
it has been a rough week.
I can imagine, man. I can imagine. I've seen you on thousands of interviews, so to give us, a couple of guys from Australia some time, it does mean a lot to us.
I appreciate you guys having me, seriously.
No, it means a lot to us. So, look, man, we wish you all the best against Jack Hermansson. We hope you get the win in the O2. Enjoy the experience, and we'd love to chat to you sometime after you.
I'll definitely be around. Win, lose, or draw, man. I'd love to talk to you guys again. Hope I get to go with you guys before I had 8 days of nonstop meetings.
Yeah,
of course. No, 100%, man. No, we appreciate it, man. Thank you, Chris.
All right,
thanks, man.
I'm going to go get birthday dinner. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for having me.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you, brother. Thank you, man.